One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness.
They're eating kids. They're eating kids. They're eating kids. How the fuck is nobody upset? They're eating children.
Me! I must appease him with the gift of a man. Come to me! I must lead you to the northwest. No, take him! No. Don't eat me! I'm sure that will be fine.
Somebody you admire, somebody you respect, or maybe even love. And it feels good. I mean, if you're 7 years old and somebody, which I was trying to say this to my friends who had children, you're 7 years old and someone is stroking your penis, it feels good. Right. Even though you don't have a name for what that is, it feels good. And when I first said this years ago, people were like, you're crazy, because everybody wants to believe it's like sex and you're being thrown up against the wall and you're being raped. And I have said for years, if the abuse is any good.
What if the man Hollywood seemed most determined to destroy was actually trying to warn us? For years, he was mocked, labeled unstable, branded a conspiracy theorist. His reputation collapsed. His career stalled. His name became shorthand for scandal instead of success. But now, in a world where long-hidden court documents have been unsealed and powerful names are being re-examined, some people are looking back and asking an uncomfortable question. What if he wasn't crazy? What if he was early? This is the story many are revisiting, the story of Mel Gibson, and the claim that he tried to hint at something deeply wrong behind Hollywood's glittering curtain and paid the price for it. Before we get to Mel, we need to understand why this conversation is happening again right now. For months, public discussion has been dominated by the release of extensive court records connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Thousands of pages of documents, flight logs, communications, testimonies, material that pulled back the curtain on a world of extreme wealth, secrecy, and alleged exploitation. The scale of what became public stunned people. It wasn't a handful of papers. It was a mountain. The details described in court filings were disturbing enough on their own. Allegations of trafficking, claims of abuse, connections to politicians, billionaires, academics, and entertainers. The internet erupted with outrage. Comment sections filled with one question. If all of this was happening for so long, who knew? And just as shocking to many was what didn't happen. Despite years of investigation and massive public attention, no wave of dramatic new arrests followed the document releases. Epstein himself had already died in custody under controversial circumstances. His associate Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted and sentenced, but the broader web of names mentioned in various filings. For many observers, it felt like silence. Rumors swirled online, some extreme, some speculative, claims that not all evidence had been released, whispers about sealed material that, if exposed, could turn everything upside down. Whether exaggerated or not, the mood was clear. People felt something larger had been hidden in plain sight. And in the middle of that chaos, a name began resurfacing across social media feeds. Mel Gibson. Now that might sound strange. To many, Mel Gibson is remembered less for his early career brilliance and more for his controversies, his public scandals, his recorded outbursts, the headlines that followed him for years. But when people began revisiting old interviews, they found something unsettling. In 1998, Gibson sat down with British director Mike Figgis for a program called Hollywood Conversations. During that discussion, he spoke about arriving in Hollywood as a young man and feeling something wasn't right. He described walking into rooms where conversations would stop. A strange, tense atmosphere. An unspoken understanding that there were rules nobody explained, but everyone obeyed. He compared it to an old horror film. You enter a town, everyone stares, and someone warns you about the house on the hill, but won't tell you why. He admitted he once thought he was being paranoid. Surely, he said, an entire industry couldn't be built on something rotten. Surely, he must have been imagining it. But years later, he suggested he realized he wasn't imagining it at all. He didn't name names, he didn't make detailed accusations, but the tone, the weight in his voice left an impression. He spoke about what he called Hollywood's social contract. The idea that if you wanted to survive, you accepted that loyalty was temporary, that eventually someone you trusted might turn on you. At the time, most people dismissed it. The narrative was simple: another celebrity losing perspective, another star drifting into paranoia. And then there was Corey Feldman. Around the same era, Gibson was hinting at darkness. Feldman, former child actor, was trying to speak much more directly. He publicly claimed that he and other young actors had been abused by powerful men in the industry. He said he went to law enforcement in the early 1990s. He said he gave names. For years, little seemed to happen. Feldman was often ridiculed in interviews, pressed aggressively to just say who it was. He insisted he feared retaliation. He claimed he had received threats. Many dismissed him. Then, decades later, authorities acknowledged that recordings of his early interviews with law enforcement did exist. To some, that moment shifted everything. The pattern began to look familiar. Speak up, get discredited. Raise questions, get isolated. And this brings us back to Gibson. In the early 2000s, he poured his own money into a project few studios would touch: The Passion of the Christ. A brutal, subtitled film about the final hours of Jesus, filmed in ancient languages. Studio executives reportedly doubted it would succeed. Some didn't want involvement at all. So Gibson financed it himself. When it exploded at the box office, earning hundreds of millions globally, it became one of the most successful independent films in history. Yet instead of a triumphant industry embrace, controversy followed. Accusations of anti-Semitism over the film's content intensified. Then came his 2006 DUI arrest and the recorded remarks that caused widespread outrage. The backlash was swift and overwhelming. Projects vanished. Roles disappeared. For years, he was effectively exiled from mainstream Hollywood. Now, to be clear, Gibson's own behavior contributed significantly to that fallout. His words were widely condemned, and many felt the consequences were justified. But others began to ask, was it just that? Or was there something more layered beneath the surface? Did his earlier comments about Hollywood's darkness make him easier to isolate when scandal struck? There is no proven evidence of a coordinated effort to bury him. But in the age of Epstein revelations, people began connecting dots, fairly or unfairly. Then came 2016's Hacksaw Ridge, a critical and commercial success that earned Oscar nominations and marked a partial comeback. And in 2023, Gibson's name surfaced again, this time connected to Sound of Freedom. The film, centered on child trafficking rescue operations, faced its own unusual journey. Completed years earlier, it was delayed during corporate transitions and eventually picked up by a smaller distributor. Upon release, it far outperformed expectations, grossing hundreds of millions worldwide. Supporters framed it as proof that audiences were hungry for stories about hidden exploitation. Critics argued it dramatized complex issues and risked feeding conspiracy culture. Regardless of perspective, it reignited debate about power, silence, and who controls narratives in entertainment. So now, in a world where Epstein's network is no longer a fringe topic, but documented in court records, some are re-examining the past with new eyes. Was Mel Gibson, a flawed man who made serious personal mistakes and faced consequences? Absolutely. Was he also someone who sensed corruption before it became publicly undeniable? That's the question people are debating. The broader issue may not be about one actor at all. It may be about systems, how industries protect themselves, how whistleblowers are treated, and how power operates behind closed doors. History shows that institutions often resist scrutiny. Sometimes accusations are exaggerated. Sometimes they're prophetic. Distinguishing between the two requires evidence, patience, and critical thinking. What is undeniable is this: exploitation in powerful circles has been proven to exist. Survivors have come forward. Court records are real. Accountability, however, remains uneven. So where does that leave us? Perhaps with a harder question: then was Mel right? Perhaps the real question is, when someone raises uncomfortable concerns about powerful systems, do we dismiss them too quickly? Or do we listen carefully, even if the messenger is imperfect? Because sometimes truth doesn't come from saints. And sometimes, it takes decades before the world is ready to hear what someone was trying to say. What do you think? In the end, this story isn't just about Mel Gibson. It isn't just about Hollywood. And it isn't even just about Epstein. It's about power. It's about what happens when influence, wealth, and silence collide behind closed doors. It's about how quickly people can be dismissed when they speak uncomfortable truths, and how slowly institutions move when those truths threaten the powerful. Mel Gibson is a complicated figure. He has made serious mistakes. He has said things that hurt people. None of that disappears. But complexity doesn't automatically erase the possibility that he may have sensed something deeply wrong in the system he was part of. At the same time, suspicion alone is not proof. Emotion is not evidence. And in moments like these, it's easy for anger to blur the line between what is documented and what is imagined. The real lesson here may be bigger than any one name. It's that corruption can exist in powerful spaces. It's that survivors deserve to be heard. It's that institutions should be questioned, but responsibly. And it's that truth requires patience, courage, and facts. If there is rot anywhere, whether in entertainment, politics, business, or media, it won't be exposed by hysteria. It will be exposed by evidence, accountability, and people who refuse to look away while also refusing to abandon reason. So maybe the final question is, was he right? Maybe it's this: are we willing to seek truth carefully, demand accountability consistently, and think critically, no matter who it implicates? Because real justice isn't loud. It isn't viral. And it isn't driven by rumor. It's built slowly, deliberately, and with facts. And that's the part that truly matters. If this story made you pause, even for a moment, don't just scroll past it. Start asking questions. Look into the facts yourself. Read original sources. Listen to multiple perspectives. Real change doesn't come from outrage alone. It comes from informed, critical thinkers who refuse to accept easy narratives. Have conversations with the people around you. Challenge ideas respectfully. Demand transparency from powerful institutions. And most importantly, support real victims and credible investigations. Not rumors, not speculation, but evidence. If this discussion sparked something in you, share it. Not to spread fear, but to encourage awareness and accountability. Because silence protects systems, but informed voices create pressure.